Hey everyone. Now for part two, I'm going to get into a couple assignments that I have for you regarding your website that you've been creating. Hopefully you've had a chance to kind of personalize it a bit. So we'll do a little bit more of that, especially with our background photo here. Now, so what you'll have to do is go into Google Classroom. And in Classroom, there's an assignment. It's called the Portrait of Science. It should be probably the only thing in there at this point. It's called Portrait of Science. And when you open up the assignment that's in there, it's a Google Slide link. And when you open it, it's going to look like this. You might be thinking this looks more like social studies. And yeah, it is. And so what I did was when I think of social studies class, these are some of the images that came into my mind. I even threw in a little plug for Mr. Brunson here. Now I want you to do the same thing for science class. I didn't put science photos on here because I wanted you to come up with your own ideas, not take some of mine. So instead, now what you're going to do, since you each have a copy, is you're going to delete the photos that I have on here, and you're going to replace them with science-related photos. So if you need kind of a prompt down here, so I have just a few prompts down here that say, when you think about the word science, what crosses your mind? Do the same here. So if you're thinking, maybe there's something I really like about science, or there's a memory I have about science class, keep it related to that. And it shouldn't just be one photo on here. So you can't just do, one photo of a beaker and blow it up across this whole slide here. It should be multiple photos. It doesn't have to be just the same amount I have here. It just should be, I'd say under 10. That's what I'd say. You don't want to jam too many photos in here. You're not going to know what you're looking at. So the reason that we're doing this is because what you're going to end up doing when you have all the photos on here is you're going to save this Google slide as a photo. And so when you get all your pictures on here, and if you're having trouble, before I even get to that saving point, if you're having trouble, getting the photos oriented properly, one of my biggest hints for you, say if oh, you know what, I want this democracy photo to be in front of this photo of all these famous buildings that are across the world. So if you click on this photo, you need to right click on the photo. For you, it's control click or two finger click. Right click on this, and by the little side menu here, it's called order. You can bring photos forward or you can send them backwards. So if I wanted this photo in front of another, I click bring to front, and notice that more of this picture came up. Now if I want it backwards, you can click send backwards. So the difference between sending backward and sending to back is backward is one step at a time. So if you have multiple photos that are on top of one another, sending backward may not send it all the way to the back right away. So you may just want to click send it back. Problem is, I just sent it all the way behind the slide itself. So you have to, I'm going to undo that. And you would need to click continue doing sending backward until you get it to the optimal spot that you want. So play around with it. And you can also crop photos, which is easy to do. So if I were to click on We the People, you can crop the image and make it bigger or smaller, however you want to. I just prefer that get it as close to the outer lines as you can here. You don't want it to be too choppy. So when you save this photo, you go File, and you actually have to download. You go to Download As, and you're going to want to save it as JPEG or PNG. Doesn't make a difference, JPEG or PNG. And what that'll do, since on your Chromebook, it'll save that to your Google Drive. So once you download this, either as a JPEG or a PNG, it'll go to your drive. And after you get it saved, you're going to want to go back to your website. I'm going to go back to mine that I created here. And I want you to insert that photo, what you think science is all about, as the header image. So to do that, to insert your photo here, you go to Change Image. You go to, I think, probably either a Select Image or Upload. Let's just do Select Image. And then what you can do is in your Google Drive, as you can see here, I have my social studies picture saved right here. You should see yours. I click select. And what do you know? Hey, there's the social studies picture. Now, it won't be perfectly shown with what you had it, so I guess you could play around with the header sizes. And there I get I get Abe Lincoln in the upper left. So this is just to personalize it for you. So when you open up your digital science notebook, you're like, yeah, this is what science looks like to me. Now, I don't want you just searching up exploding scientists and blowing things up in a lab. That's not practicing safe science. So keep it realistic here. All right. So it shouldn't just be, blowing up dynamite and stuff like that. Keep it realistic and not social studies. All right. And if you want to find a picture of me, I guess, I don't know. I don't have a sweet picture like Merrill Brunson or Mr. Brunson here. So this is the first part of your assignment. So go back afterwards, once you've inserted this, go back to your portrait of science. And when you're done with this, back in your Google Classroom prompt, I actually would want you to submit this. This is going to be like an assignment for you. And before you submit it though, if you go back to your website, I want you to click on the publish button. So publishing this will actually put it on the web. It's not on the web yet. When you click publish, it'll bring up this little option right here. So first down below, we're going to keep it at anyone at the Platteville web address. We're just going to keep it at this. That's the only people that can view it. We can mess around. You can mess around with that later. Say if you want to show your parents or your parents want to have access to your notebook just to see it. Let's just keep it at this current option. Now for your site location, that's essentially you're adding in a unique name for this because everybody's going to have this right here, the sites.google.com. And so you can make this next part unique to you. You can't have the same one as someone else because you can't have the same website name. And so if I were you, I'd keep it unique and something that I can remember. So maybe I'd just do, for me, I'd just maybe my last name. You can change this if it's too difficult to remember. So I'm just going to, I don't know, Olenchek Science. It says, hey, that's available, a little check mark, and you click publish. After it's done processing, what you can do in this little drop-down menu now, and I'd like you to do this because I want to get your website URL. Click View Published Site right here. That's going to take you to what it looks like on the web. Not too bad, huh? So far, this is what it looks like. Now, what I want you to do is I want to make sure I have access to your website. So highlight this. I want you to copy this link. Copy it. Go back to the portrait of science. Down below, see I have some text prompts here for you. Delete this when you're done. And paste your website URL right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save all your website links so I can right away, one click, and I can see your journal because I'm going to be reviewing those and going over them periodically, probably once a week. So make sure this is pasted here. Then you can go into Google Classroom and submit this portrait of science slide to me. I'm hoping that makes sense. Email me if you have questions on that. All right, so portrait of science is done. I'm going to go back to my published notebook. And before I exit out of this, I want you to bookmark this just in case you want to be able to see this. Now you're going to have access to this in your drive, but just in case, maybe you'll want to bookmark this. So to bookmark, I think you know this, click star and you can click, if you have folders here, which some of you might, you can save it to specific folders. If you don't, you can just click done and that is going to save and bookmark this to your tab that's along the top here. I'd want you to do the same to my course website too, not this one at this point, not yet. So I'm going to stop it here. I have one more direction for you afterwards, okay?